You can be on your back or seated, and just place your hands on your belly. And we're going to exhale, make a ha sound as we draw the bellies in. And just do this in your own time, relaxing here. You could have your legs at the wall, you could be lying down, you could be seated. Any position that feels good for you. Just continue that long exhale. And then adding some sound for Mari, the B breath, inhale. As you exhale and make the sound, drawing the belly in from the pelvic floor up. Inhale, expand the belly. Exhale, draw it in. Inhale. Hands on the heart. We're going to add an Om. Inhale. Inhale. And maybe one hand on the belly, the other on the heart. Just feel the breath moving you. Making an intention, a sankalpa, to do with grounding, relaxing, anything specific to do with your legs and feet from a physical or energetic level. Energetically, we call this apana vayu, the downward flow of energy. So we're working with this a lot. It's from the belly button down, all the way down the legs to the feet. This is the energy of root vegetables. If you've ever grown root vegetables, like a carrot growing into the earth, downward. So we're trying to make our lower body like a carrot growing into the earth. And when you're ready, you're going to lie down if you're not already lying down. I'm just going to see Just adjust this a little tiny bit. That's going to be about right. Okay, so we're just going to start with our Tadaka Mudra. So you're going to inhale, you're going to bring your arms up overhead to the floor behind you as you point your toes. And exhale, you're going to flex your toes towards your nose as you bring your hands down. And you're going to flex your toes really hard and pull up on your kneecaps if that's comfortable. Really using your thigh muscles. Inhale, lengthening through the toes, through the arms, through the hands, chin down, and exhale. Flexing the toes towards the nose, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in, chest falls. Tadaka Mudra, keep this going. Your own timing, inhale, lengthening, exhale, contracting. Just notice if one knee feels a little bit different than the other. So for example, for me, it's a little harder to engage my right leg. And my right knee is weaker than my left. So just notice that if one side, it just feels a little harder to pull up on the thigh muscles as you do that exhale. And then staying at the top if it's comfortable with a big stretch. Otherwise, keep it moving. You could interlock the fingers and bring them overhead. If your arms are not comfortable here, feel free to bring them by your sides. And breathe here. And when you're ready, release. And just rest for a moment. Someone's got their speaker on. So if you just make sure that you're all muted, somebody's unmuted. Oh, I've got it. Okay, we're good now. Excellent. Okay, good. All right, so just lying down. And we're going to move to the next exercise. So we did this last week, I believe. As you inhale, you're going to bring your easy leg to the side, opening, and you're lying down as you do this. Inhale, opening, and exhale, bringing your leg back to the center. And then the other side, inhale, opening, and exhale the leg back to the center. And as you do this, you're lying with your arms at the sides. And you're keeping your knee facing up to the sky. Inhale, open, and exhale, close. Inhale, open, keep the knee facing up to the sky, and exhale, close. Now, as you do this, try to start to exhale before you start to move. So start to exhale and then start to move, zipping up from the pelvic floor all the way to the belly button. And again, notice if one side feels a little bit weaker than the other. So this is strength work for the sides of the hips, the outer hip, the inner hip. And that translates all the way through the leg into the foot. You probably can feel that all the way to the foot. And this might be different than your knee. Any weakness might be a little bit different than your knee. So for example, when I do this one, my left side feels weaker than my right. But when I did the first exercise, my right side felt weaker than my left. And just finishing your last round. Inhale, open, exhale, close. And then come to the center and rest. Inhale, let, exhale, go. Feel the rise and fall of the belly. Inhale, let, exhale, go. Just feeling the body sinking into the ground. Feeling your feet, your ankles, your calves, your knees, your thighs, your hips, your lower back, middle back, upper back, arms, hands, neck, back of your head, top of your head. And imagine there's water flowing down the front body as you do your next exhale. Exhale all the way down to your feet as that water flows down. And when you're ready, we're going to move to the next exercise. So you're going to do this lying down. I'm just going to sit up for a minute so I can see you. So as you exhale, you're going to bend one leg. And inhale, you're going to straighten it. You're sliding the heel along the ground. So you might want to do this without a mat in the lower part of your body. You might want to fold your mat or not use a mat like I am. So you can slide your leg, exhale, bending the leg, and you're sliding your foot, inhale, extending. And you're going to do this lying down. So inhale, lengthening, exhale, bending, starting with your easy side, moving to your harder side, and try to move your leg with your pelvic floor and your lower belly. And for those of you who have lower back issues, this might feel really good in the lower back, massaging one side of the lower back at a time. It's also good for tracking of the knees for those of you who have knee issues, this might feel good for aligning the movement of the knees, the patella. Now we're going to add on to this. So we're going to add some arms with this too. You're going to inhale, bring your arms overhead to the floor behind you. And as you exhale, if it's comfortable, you're going to move one leg at a time or both legs. Drawing in, exhale, bending, and inhale, straightening. If you feel any numbness in the feet, just notice that. If it's too much, rest. It might just be a little bit of sensation of nerves here. It's a bit of a nerve floss doing this. Inhale, lengthening, flexing the toes towards the nose at the end of the inhale, tucking the chin in, and exhale, contracting. Using the core to move the legs in from the pelvic floor all the way to the belly. Inhale, chest expanding, belly expanding, tucking the chin in. Exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in, chest falls. Just do this a few more times. Inhale, lengthening. And exhale, contracting. And then just stay for a minute with your legs bent, your knees angled in or wide, and rest. Inhale, let, exhale, go. Feeling the breath move from your nostrils to your belly as you inhale. Exhale from the belly, up and out through the nostrils. And when you're ready, we're going to move on. So we're going to add the arms, the legs, and we're going to also add a movement up with the legs. So we'll start one leg at a time, one arm at a time. Inhale, bringing the right arm up, and you're pointing both toes if you like. And you're going to exhale, you're going to drag your right leg in as you bring your right hand down. Inhale, you're going to bring your right leg up and maybe bring your right arm back up as well. Exhale, bringing your hand down, your leg down. And inhale, extending the leg out and your arm up. Exhale, bring the arm down. And we're going to do the other side. Inhale, extending the left arm up, the left foot away from you. Exhale, dragging the left foot as you bring the arm down. Inhale, extending the leg up and the arm up. Exhale, bringing the arm down, the leg down. Inhale, extend the leg long and the arm long. Exhale, relax the arm down. You can keep that going side to side if you like, or you can use both arms. Inhale, lengthening the arms overhead, pointing the toes. Exhale, dragging both feet towards you as you bring the arms down. Inhale, bringing the arms up and the legs up to the sky. Exhale, Gradually bringing the feet down, using the core strength to do that. Inhale, extending the legs long, the arms up. Exhale, release the arms down. We're going to do that again. If this is too much, do one side at a time. Inhale, lengthening. Exhale, bending in. Inhale, lengthening up. Exhale, bending down. Inhale, lengthening along the floor. Exhale, release the arms down by your sides. 2 more times. Inhale, lengthening. Pointing the toes if you can. Exhale, bending. Inhale, up to the sky, arms overhead. Exhale, hands coming down, touching the toes and the heels to the ground, using the core to resist that movement down. Inhale, lengthen out. And exhale, arms down and rest with the legs straight or bent, rest. Inhale, let. Exhale, go. Inhale, let. Exhale, go. Inhale, Om. Exhale, Namo. This means I surrender. I let go. Okay, so when you're ready, you're going to move on to your side. It doesn't matter which one. And we're going to work with Anantasana that we did last week. And this is very strengthening for the hip, which also translates into the leg and foot. So this one in particular works with the hip, the outside of the leg. And oh, someone's trying to get in. Let's see. Oh, okay. And some late students coming late. There we go. They're coming. I hope they get in okay. Okay, good. So new students, I'm just going to make sure you're muted. Please mute. Thank you. Great. Okay, so we're just moving on to the next exercise. So we're working on Anantasana. So lying on one side. You can have an arm underneath your ear, or you could take one of your pillows and put it under your head and just have your arms in front. If you start with your legs bent, it's a nice way to start, more accessible. And just straighten that top leg. I'm going to do it with my arm overhead and show that piece, but you don't have to do this part. So starting with your leg long, if that works, you could just do this with the leg bent. So you're going to inhale, you're going to bring your arm overhead to your other hand if that works for you. Otherwise, just leave the hand in front of you and skip this part if this is too much for your shoulder. And as you exhale, you're going to bring your leg up and your hand to your thigh and have your knee facing towards the center. Inhale, pointing the toe and lengthening. That bottom leg could also be straight if you want to work a little harder. It's a little harder to balance, but if you want, that's the classical. Exhale, bringing the leg up, the knee facing towards the center. Hand to the thigh. Inhale, lengthening. And really stretching the toes away from you as you inhale, and exhale, bringing the foot, the leg up, knee facing center. Do that a few more times, your own timing. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, contract. If it's too much, just rest in side child with the knees bent. And for those of you who have imbalances in the hips, this can be extremely helpful. This also can translate into helping the knees. Doing this exercise can be really helpful for the knees. Strengthening the sides of the hips can also translate into helping the knees. And just finishing off, bending both knees. And just resting in side child. And when you feel ready, just gradually coming up and switching sides. Make sure you're all okay. Just like it. And yes, you can definitely do this whole class, this Thursday night class, you could do it in your bed. I call that bed yoga, and I often give practices to people in their beds when there's stuff going on in their bodies. It can be much more comfortable. So just keep that in mind. So hopefully you can see me okay. Looks like you can. Yeah. Okay. So when you're ready, starting in that fetal position, again, you could have a cushion under your head rather than the extended arm. And you could skip the movement of the arms altogether and just rest them in front of you. So if you want, extending that top leg out and the top arm along your ear to meet the other hand, if this works for you. If this is too much, just rest that hand in front and don't move the arm. Inhale, lengthening. If you want to make this harder, extend the lower leg long as well. Exhale as you bring the leg up and the hand to your thigh, trying to keep that knee facing forward and feel like you're pointing the toes down. Inhale, lengthen and stretch away. Feel like you're stretching through the side of the hip and the side of the back as well. So if you really stretch on that inhale, you can get the whole side body. Exhale, coming up. Doing this about 6 times. And notice if one side is different than the other. And try to move the body with the breath. Inhale, chest expanding, belly expanding. Exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in, chest falls. If you become fatigued when you're doing this, rest at any time. This is your practice. And much better if we listen to our bodies and respect our limits. We can try to push our limits a little bit. That's also a good thing. But respecting our limits when we find them. And just finishing up, bringing that knee to meet the other, and just resting in side child. And we're going to switch sides, and we're going to do something different than last week. So going to the other side again, this is going to be the most active part of the class, which is why it's at the beginning. You'll be nice and rested by the end, but you're probably starting to feel your legs waking up. So going on the other side again, bending your knees, putting that pillow under the head, the hands in front if you like, or so this is one way to do this, just like this, very gentle. So I think I'm going to do this variation this time, just something different, and I'm just going to rest that hand down. So I'm going to, again, straighten my bottom leg. It could remain bent, but one option is to straighten it. I'm going to keep mine bent. I just checked in, my body wants it bent. And you're going to straighten that top leg straight in front of you. So rather than back here like it was before, it's just straight in front of you. And as you inhale, you're going to lift it up. And exhale, come down. I've seen a bunch of feet in the camera. It's very cool. Inhale, lifting up, and you should be feeling your hip. And maybe into your leg. And exhale, coming down. Now, if you want to play with this, I learned this from one of my yoga therapist trainees. She called it around the clock. You can start moving around an imaginary clock back to that original position that we were in. And you could have that lower leg straight and then go back to that 3 o'clock position. Maybe even 2 o'clock, some of you. And then back to the 6 o'clock position. Inhale up, exhale down. You might be getting pretty tired about now. And rest. Bend both knees and just rest. And when you feel ready, we're going to swivel to the other side. So again, for this side, I'm using the cushion rather than my arm, but that's an option, and I'm not moving the arms for this one. Both knees are bent in a side child, and then I'm going to extend my top leg. I'm just going to rest my top hand as well. In that 3 o'clock position, inhale, coming up and noticing if one hip is weaker than the other. Or sometimes the second side will just feel harder. Inhale up, exhale down. So just staying in this 3 o'clock position for a little bit. Closing the eyes if you like. And then starting to move around the clock, heading towards 6 o'clock. Inhale up, exhale down, heading more towards that first position we were in. Anantasana, the sleeping Vishnu pose. And Ananta means infinite harmony, endless, eternal, balance. And heading back, the Yoga Sutras say that when you're able to practice with the appropriate amount of effort, letting go of any tension in the body-mind, you will become absorbed in this infinite harmony. When you're ready, bending knees, relaxing. So that's chapter 247 if you're a Yoga Sutra person. And the next sutra says, in this state of harmony, opposites will no longer affect us, which means we won't be triggered by what is going on outside of us. So that's the promise of yoga, is coming to this balanced state of body-mind so that we have more resilience in our bodies and our minds to handle all the changes of life, the ups and downs, the hot, the cold, the like, the dislike. And becoming very adaptive, able to handle change with grace, ease, and balance. When you're ready, coming up and going back to back, no pun intended. And let's work with the belt a little bit now. So we're going to stretch those legs. We've been really warming them up, strengthening them. So we've been working with stiram, or strength, a lot. And the other side of doing the movements of yoga is sukham, which is ease or flexibility. So starting with your easy side, whatever side that is, you're going to take your belt, put your leg in. I'm actually going to create a loop. I like to have a big loop and do it that way, but whatever works for you, there's many ways you can hold a belt. The main thing for me is just making sure your shoulders are down. So you don't want to be like this with your shoulders up and your chin up. You want the back of your head down. You might need a cushion under your head to keep your chin more in line with your chest. And flexing your toes towards your nose. And just feeling that stretch in your leg, probably. And exhale, you're going to bend your knee. And this is also working on the opposite hip flexors. So some of you told me that your hip flexors were tight. You probably feel this in the opposite hip flexor. Inhale, straighten that top leg. And exhale, bend. It's also working with tracking of the knees. So how the knee moves when it bends and when it straightens. How the patella or the kneecap moves, sliding. You might be feeling this in your groin, your inner thighs. Just notice where you're feeling it, some of you in your calf. Now getting a bit more into the foot as we inhale, maybe pointing the toes away, and exhale, flexing the toes towards the nose. And if you do get any cramping doing this, just take a break. It is common, especially as we age, to get leg cramps. I've been experiencing that more and more in the last 5 years. So definitely upping hydration, magnesium, all those good things. But yeah, it can just happen with age. By keeping that range of motion going through moving is one of the best things we can do for our bodies and our minds. And if you feel like staying in the pose, you may do that with your leg straight now. Supta Eka Padangustasana. Supine one-footed leg stretch. And try to keep that little toe side from curling in. So you can see if mine is going towards the window, try to loop it down towards the floor rather than have it curl in. And try to keep the whole hip coming down. It might want to hike up, try to draw it down. So the lower back is evenly on the floor on both sides. And you're probably feeling a stretch in the back of the calf. And switching sides. So it's best not to do this stretch when you're cold. So we did a lot of warm up before we got here to get blood flow into the legs, muscles warmed up. Notice if one side's different than the other. Exhale, bending the knee. Trying to keep that knee aligned with the foot, so the knee aligned with about the second toe, that little toe side rather than sickling in. Make sure it's fanning out. Exhale, bend, and inhale, straighten. Just continue this in your own time. If you like adding the pointing of the toes, you could also be pointing the lower toes as well. Finding your breath once you have the movement. You move your attention to the breath and coordinating breath and movement. Inhale, lengthening. Exhale, contracting. Oh, and I forgot to say this. You can also have the lower leg bent. This makes it much easier. You can bend that lower leg. And you can also have a bolster or pillow underneath that lower thigh if you like, the opposite leg, the leg that's on the floor. You can have it bent, or you could put a cushion under the thigh. If you feel ready, you can stay in the pose now and stretch. Stretching through the calf, foot, Dropping that hip down so it's not hiking up. Making the pelvis even, lower back even, both sides. Finding the full pose. Classically, this is done holding the big toe with the fingers. The problem with that is most of us don't have long enough arms to do that without straining our necks. And sometimes we can't get quite as much of a stretch, but that depends on your body. So this belt just helps our arms get a little longer. And when you're ready, you're going to bring both feet into the belt, flexing the toes towards your nose. If it's comfortable, bringing the feet towards your face a little bit or a lot. Try to keep the lower back on the ground as you do this. And inhale, bring the legs away, pointing the toes. And exhale, bringing the feet towards you, toes towards the nose. And maybe staying in one of those positions and then breathing and stretching a little more deeply. And when you're ready, release that. Just bring your hands to the sky. Let the knees be relaxed. Just do this semi-inversion. You could do this with the legs up a wall or the legs on a chair. And this is good for promoting circulation of blood and lymph. Inhale, let. Exhale, go. And relax your legs down. You can stretch them long or keep them bent and just rest. And notice the effects of those leg stretches on your hips, your lower back, your legs, and your feet. And notice energetically how you feel now. A little bit more alive, yet relaxed. A little bit more present in your body and your mind. We're just going to work with this inversion a bit more. I'm hoping all of you have a pillow nearby. So it could be a bolster if you've got a yoga bolster, or a pillow from your bed. I've got one of my nice cushions I got made in India for our new window seats in our house. So I'm using these. These are the ones for my yoga room. And you're going to put that underneath your buttocks, no higher than your waist. So for those of you who have been in class with me, I think actually all of you have been in class with me. You'll remember that cue, I'm sure. And the main thing is to be comfortable. And then when you bring your legs up, you might find you need to get a bit higher, but no higher than the waist, and bring the legs up. This is not comfortable. You could have your legs at a wall, but we are going to be moving them, so it'd be better if you could have it away from the wall. So I'm just going to give you a moment to set up. And this is a way of promoting circulation through the legs. So none of you mentioned edema or swelling of the legs, but that's a really common problem with the legs. And especially if you're on your feet a lot, but even if you're sitting a lot with computer work, one of you mentioned teaching all day, sitting, just changing the direction. So if you think in your daily life where your feet are right now, that's normally where your head is. So it's called viparita, which means to put upside down. And the idea is something that's viparita is what was up is now down, and it gives you a new perspective on things. And it actually, we know physiologically, it changes how our nervous system responds because of the change in blood flow. Our nervous system down-regulates and puts us into relaxation. As soon as we do even a small inversion like this, with the pillow underneath the pelvis, it helps with that blood flowing back to the heart. So even for those of you who have heart disease, this generally will be safe. If it feels like too much, you can remove that pillow. If it feels like too much of an inversion, or you could put your legs on a chair. We're just going to start a kunchanasana. So this is a bending of the knees into the chest, one side at a time. So exhale, bending one side in, like you're bicycling. Inhale, straightening. We're going to flex our toes towards our nose. And exhale the other side. So even for those of you with eye conditions, where maybe you've been told you can't do inversions, this inversion is pretty gentle, so just feel into it, see if it feels safe for you. You can also always talk to your doctor to just check these things if you're not sure. And if it's too much, you can just sit this out and lie in shavasana or legs up the wall. Exhale, bend the knee into the chest. And inhale, extend, and if you can, flexing the toes towards your nose, probably feeling a lot of circulation into the feet, Dhyana Vayu, the movement of energy through the body. You play with the movement of the legs a little bit more if you like. And if you like, you can move both legs. Exhale, bend the knees into the chest, and inhale, extend the legs up. Exhale, bend. And inhale up. Working this way can also be helpful for incontinence. Working with these semi-inversions while you pull the pelvic floor in on the exhale. Inhale, chest to belly, relaxing the pelvic floor. Exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in as you draw the whole lower body in. Also a nice massage for the lower back. And rest with your legs up. We're going to add on. You're going to bring one leg down to your place. The leg can be straight or bent. That's inhale, bring the leg down. Again, you're going to feel a nice stretch in that hip flexor of the leg that's down. Exhale, bring the leg up, and you can just come straight up to the sky, or if you like, you can do a mini halasana or plow by bringing your legs back a little bit. Be careful. This might be too much on your neck and shoulders. And if you have heart problems, that might be too much on your heart. Inhale the other side, the leg coming down, stretching that other hip, the psoas, hip flexor. Exhale, bringing the feet together, and maybe adding that mini plow with the feet coming towards your face. Keep that going. Inhale, extend. And exhale, bend. In your own time, inhale, extend. The lower leg can be bent again if it's too much. Now, you could do this with both legs. I will not do that because it's really hard for most lower backs. But you could do that in your own time when you're doing this video at home if you're very strong in your core. But be careful. And just one more round. So again, great for the hips, for the legs, the lower back, for the feet, and just rest with your legs to the sky and maybe your hands up as well. If it's too much, just come out of the pose and rest. Inhale, let. Exhale, go. You might feel a little shaking through the legs, a little bit of a discharge of the nervous system. That's fine. Inhale, let. Exhale, go. Inhale, Om. Exhale, Namo. But when you can't do legs up the wall because you don't have a free wall in your house, you can do this pose in the center of any room. You can also put your legs up on a sofa, a chair, a bed, bending your knees into your chest with this prop underneath your back. You might feel a nice stretch into the lower back. If this is too much, you can have your knees wide. Create some more space for your back and belly by bringing your knees wide. And since we're here, we're going to open the legs, feeling that stretch into the groin. Exhale, bringing the legs together, using your core to draw your legs together. Inhale, pointing the toes, bringing your legs apart. Exhale, drawing your legs together, heels together. Using your core to move your legs. Inhale. Upper back expands, middle back, lower back. Exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in, chest falls. Keep this going your own timing. Arms anywhere that's comfortable, palms up or down. Might be some shaking through the legs or the core. Try to keep the knees facing to the front towards your face rather than letting the legs turn out when you open. So try to keep the legs parallel. And then when you get to the final pose, you can let your legs turn out and just stay in this open position for a little bit if it's comfortable for your groin. This area can get really tight from all of our sitting. It's too much, come out of it anytime. And when you're ready, use your hands, bring your legs together, your knees to your chest, rest here. Again, your knees can be wide to create more space for the belly and the back. Moving into our final Shavasana. You're welcome to dim your lights or cover your eyes with an eye pillow. You can put that pillow underneath your thighs and just rest here. Inhale, let, exhale, go. Inhale, Om, exhale, Namo. And starting to increase the length of the breath. When you're ready, moving the hands and feet a little bit. Your own time, rolling to one side. Your side feels more comfortable in your body. Classically, it's to the right so that the left nostril is open. This is our more receptive side. The right is our more active side. So as we come out of relaxation, we want to encourage that moon side or the left side. Ready, coming up. You could keep lying down if you prefer, or come to a seated position, either on a cushion or a chair. And we're going to do some pranayama in this position. Okay, so just finding your seat. For me, it always takes a minute to find what is my seat going to be today. What's my body want? I'll find that position, and hopefully it's one that I can stay to do the rest of my practice. So, and sometimes it will be lying down because seated is not comfortable. So doing some pranayama, we worked on this last class. So you're going to inhale both nostrils, and you're going to have your hands either in beaks or in Reiki mudra with your first two fingers down and your index finger, thumb together, or you can just create two little beaks with your hands. So I'm just going to show that. Inhale both nostrils, Ujjayi, pranayama, constricting the throat. And the right hand coming up, half closing nostrils, elbow high, exhale. Inhale both nostrils through your throat, constricting. And exhale, other side, half closed nostrils. Just keep this going side to side. If it's too much, just do Ujjayi pranayama, constricting the throat the whole time. Counting the breath. As you exhale, count the breath, make a ratio. Keep that ratio for 2 rounds, and then see if you can make it a little bit longer the next 2. Inhale, free counting. Exhale every 2, trying to add 1 second to your exhale. Just finishing up your last round. And just finishing up. Let your breath come back to neutral. Inhale, chest to belly. Exhale, belly to chest. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all everywhere be blessed, so blessed. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.